Hey guys, Finn's Graphics here, and this is my awesome Creeper coffee mug. So I'm making this video today because I reached 2,000 subscribers. So I wanted to do an awesome video for you guys. And the most requested video is a tutorial video, so why not? So I'll start off by showing you guys where I work every day. So this here is kind of my workstation, and this is the computer that I use for all of my graphics. And oh, I almost forgot. These are these awesome wood burning things that my brother did. I wanted to show you them because they're just so awesome, and he's totally awesome. So there's that one, and this one. I hope you can tell they're Minecraft, because they are, and they're totally awesome. So yeah, those are those real quick. But let's get back to kind of my workstation here. So over here is my Wacom tablet, which you probably can't see, so I'll move it in the frame. That's my Wacom tablet, and that's pretty much the key to like really good art. You can do it without it, but I think it probably involves using pencil and paper. You have to like sketch it out first, which I actually used to do. But the Wacom tablet just has been awesome, and I use it all the time for everything. It just really helps you speed up your workflow and just to get really nice smooth lines. Like a lot of people just using Microsoft Paint with their mouse. You can do what you want, but you just don't get the same result with a Wacom tablet. So yeah, tip number 1, Wacom tablets are great. So number 2, I guess, is software. I use Photoshop CS4. You can probably see on all the description of my videos I say what I use, but I'm going to go through it anyway just because, I don't know, nobody looks there. So yeah, I use Photoshop CS4. You can use other programs like GIMP, which are free, and free is highly superior to like $1,000 whatever Photoshop is. So if you want to use GIMP, I'm sure it works great. I haven't tried it myself, but I see a lot of people using GIMP, and it seems pretty good, so I would check that out. But since I use Photoshop, I'm going to show you guys how I do it in Photoshop. So yeah, I guess that's all I need to say here. Let's dig right in. So here we are in Photoshop, and the first thing you're going to want to do is click File and click New to create a new document. Now, the size of the new document, it doesn't really matter, but I find a lot of people like to make their things really small, and then I'm like, why not just make it huge? I mean, it doesn't make a difference when you're making it, but with the final product, I mean, it's kind of awesome to have something you can like blow up to wallpaper size, right? So I like to just make it really big, so this looks pretty good. I like always doing a resolution of 300 pixels per inch, because then you can print it out nicely and it looks really crisp. So yeah, resolution 300 pixels per inch is usually good. Height, width, I mean, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to go with this. Alright, so now that we have our new document, you're going to want to make a new layer on that document by just hitting the new layer button down here. And on that layer, you're going to want to start sketching out your design. So what I mean by sketching out is you just kind of make a rough drawing of what you're going to draw first, because it's really hard to just draw it right off the bat what it's going to look like. So I like to just kind of start out by making a rough sketch. So you can do this on paper, or if you have a Wacom tablet, you can do it on a computer. It doesn't really matter what you do it on. If you do it on paper, you can just scan it in or take a photo or whatever. But it's good to start out with something. Let's start here. Let's get to a black color, and let's just go full screen here because it works out better that way. And let's just start sketching something out. So today I'm going to be drawing Chad the DJ, because he was my very first Speedart, and since about 2,000 subscribers, I don't know, thought I might, go back and redo my first one since it wasn't really that great. So yeah, let's start out by just kind of sketching it out. So you start by kind of just doing, the square head here. Start kind of sketching it out. It doesn't really matter. It's just so rough. It's such a rough drawing that you just kind of go with it. And it doesn't matter what brush you're using or anything like that. Just keep brushing. You can tell I'm concentrating when I stop talking, because I'm concentrating on drawing. So you're going to want to kind of try and keep the proportions of a Minecraft guy, and the way I draw them is I have them have really big heads, which doesn't really look like that in Minecraft, but it just kind of gives them kind of that fun feel of fun Minecrafty feel, So here's my guy starting to take shape. Give him an arm here. And I think I'm going to make him a pirate, because pirates are boss. So I'll give him a pirate hat. Arr, he be a pirate. There. So now I kind of have a rough sketch. You can tell it's kind of like a guy. I know it doesn't look much like one, but he looks kind of like a guy. So basically you can just start by sketching it out like that. And it looks really rough and not very good, but don't be afraid if it looks really bad. And I mean, you can always erase and just start over if you want to. So after you have your kind of rough draft, you're going to want to kind of drop the opacity on that just a little bit, just so it's a little bit less visible than it was. And then you're going to want to start going into kind of more detail. And when you go into more detail, I like to use kind of an angle brush, so this one here. And I downloaded this online. I'm not sure where I downloaded it from, but you can just get any kind of angle brush like that. Works really well. So I'm going to make it a little bigger, kind of zoom in a bit. So with this angle brush, it works really well to use a Wacom tablet because you get these kind of nice. Oh, didn't make a new layer. Yeah, you don't want to make a new layer. That's going to be important. Make a new layer on top of that once you drop the pass on that one. So you get kind of a nice smooth line with these, and you can get like different widths with the pressure that you push. So if you push really hard, you get really thick lines. If you push really soft, you get kind of, thinner lines. And then you get thicker lines and thinner lines. That's thick. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. So a Wacom tablet is really good for that, but if you don't have a Wacom tablet, you can just use the pen tool, and then you can kind of like drag out the lines you need. So that works pretty well, and I see a lot of people doing this, and because it's a really good way of doing it. And then, so you just kind of make your path, and then you want to fill path with the foreground color, which is black, and then you get these, you also get nice lines. If you don't have a Wacom tablet, that's a good way to do it. But since I do have a Wacom tablet, I'm just going to quickly go through and make this guy look a little bit cleaner. Okay, so now that I've kind of given him more of a rough outline, I'm going to start doing a little bit more detail. And I mean, there's no real, like, trick to this. The only trick I can tell you is practice. But one thing I wanted to mention about the motions of him is that if you kind of start doing the motions in real life, like just kind of, you just kind of stand in front of your camera, just, stand there and see, what kind of motions look cool and, how your body kind of looks to those motions. It actually really helps. I know it sounds really weird and goofy, but it actually kind of helps to get like a cool motion that you would actually be in, because I know a lot of people have trouble with that. And another thing you can do is actually go on to novaskin.com and kind of model out your guys. That's also how you can like enter in their skin name, and you can figure all that kind of stuff out so that you can know what their skin looks like and stuff like that before when you get to coloring. But for now, I'm just gonna get rid of these lines here and just start, going back in and kind of detailing him a little bit more. So now you can kind of tell a little bit more that he's taking shape. I kind of did quite a bit of detailing down here, and I mean, you just kind of go for it. If it doesn't work out, you just erase it, and it's pretty easy. So yeah, I don't know what much more I can talk about the line art. Yeah, just keep practicing. And if you want to draw them on paper, that's completely fine. Like as you see in my videos, I draw it on the computer, but I mean, it's just as good to draw it on paper, if not better. I used to draw it on paper, and I mean, you can check out some of my previous videos to see kind of how I did that. But yeah, I mean, drawing it on paper, I think it's better than drawing on the computer, because I think you can get a better result. Alright, so now that we've gotten the line drawing done, I guess we should get into coloring. So make a new layer below the line layer. So this is a line layer. Make a new layer over here that's below the line layer. And what's this layer? Oh yeah, that's our sketch layer. We can just delete the sketch layer. We don't need that anymore. So yeah, delete sketch layer, and then you have this layer that's going to be the color. So I like to grab a picture of the skin and just kind of sample the colors from it. So I'll take this picture here. This is a picture of the skin, and I have it on my dual screen over here. So I'm just gonna leave it on this screen, but you have to take for granted. I'm just sampling colors from this. So I'm gonna probably start by doing the shirt. So I'm gonna sample one of his dark colors and one of his light colors. So you look at the skin. You sample a dark color and you sample a light color, and once you've done that, these colors look actually really dark and really light. I might wanna pick some different ones here. One sec. Yeah, you can kind of just edit the colors as much as you need to. But yeah. So once you've gotten your colors, I like to just use the magic wand tool, which is up here, and make sure it's on sample all layers, and just select the area that you're trying to do. And the problem is when you go to use your gradient tool, which is if you hit G, the gradient tool over here, use your gradients. When you go to use the gradient tool like this, and you deselect it, you can kind of tell that, well, actually, it did a pretty amazing job right there. I'm extremely impressed. Wow. Actually, that's really good. I'm not sure what just happened there. Okay, usually when I go to use the gradient tool, I have to click Command E and then expand it by 2 pixels, just so that it makes sure that it's behind and then there's not a little white line in between. So I usually do that, so most times that's what happens, but apparently today it's changing the course of history. So yeah, I guess it's not running today, but I like to do that. Just it kind of gives me a nice clean look, and I'm just using the gradient tool, just dragging up, just to kind of give it more of a dark and light feel to it. So let's see here. What else does he have that's tan colored? I think that's pretty much it. It's just this little t-shirt area here. Well, I'll do this little area as well. And I think it's this little area. So yeah, I'm just kind of using the gradient tool, and when something like that happens, where it selects too much because you didn't like connect the lines there, just go with the brush tool on that color and just make a little line there just to connect it, and then it's fine. And you can fill it up just like normal. So yeah, some people like to make a new layer for every single color. So like here's his jacket, and then you can make a new layer. And I mean that's kind of nice if you're editing it and you want to like brighten up things or whatever. So you can do that, or you can just do it all in the same layer. It doesn't really matter that much. So let's go for his vest next. So I got a dark red, kind of a light red. Looks like everything on his skin is kind of dark, so I'm going to kind of lighten up the red a little bit. Yeah, so at this point I'm about to color the hat here, and I just want to make sure that you know that you should never use solid blacks, because if I use a solid black here, I'll show you. You really can't differentiate the hat from the lines, and it just doesn't really look that great. So usually just use kind of a little bit of a gray, just not quite black, and then when you're using the gradient, you do like then a light gray. So you have like a really dark gray that's almost black, and then kind of a light gray. And then you just, it still looks black. I mean, yeah, it looks gray, but it just kind of ends up with a better product. Alright, so now that he's all colored in, we can start shading. So shading is something that a lot of people ask me how I do it because I think it's awesome. But in my opinion, I have the worst shading out of like everybody. I don't know. I feel like there's a better way to do it. So if you guys have a better way to do it, you can show me. But I'll show you the way I do it. The way I do it is I make a new layer, and I put the layer on multiply. And then I use a color. If I go to my color swatches here, I use this color for most of the time. It's just kind of a, you know, kind of a darkish brownish color, kind of tan, I don't know, grayish. It just doesn't really matter what color you use, as long as it's kind of dark, almost black color. And I like to use a normal brush, and it's on multiply. Strong opacity just a tiny bit, just because you don't want to be too harsh. And then I basically just start brushing in shadows. So if my light source is coming from over here, like shadows is all about light sources. So if the light sources is up in this top corner, and then the shadow would be cast down here. So there's a shadow like that his beard is casting on like his body here. So you just kind of brush in kind of a dark area. I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't know. It's the way I do it. It seems to look okay. You just kind of, there you go. That's the shadow of his beard. And then you'd say, well, this kind of might have a shadow over here. Like so. And like a shadow here. And this belt here would have a shadow coming on the bottom of it. Like so. And then also shadow down here. I mean, it's really self-explanatory. All it is shadows, and I'm just brushing with a dark color on multiply, and that it kind of gives you that that look as if basically you're darkening all of the colors. So you're putting on something. It's like you're picking a darker color, but no matter what you brush it on, it's gonna make that thing darker instead of just like brushing like black or like a dark reddish. You know, it kind of just smooths it all out. So yeah, you just kind of brush around and make the shadows. It's pretty simple. So yeah, this is my first shadow layer, and I'm just going to quickly finish this, and then I'll show you my second shadow layer. Okay, so now that I've got my first shadow layer done, I like to make a new layer, same thing on multiply, but just that has less opacity, and I use it just to kind of add depth. So like for areas like this, you just kind of draw like a line across the side of it. It just kind of adds depth to the whole thing. So you just kind of add it to everything, every side, like because the light's from the other side, so you put the dark on this side of everything. You just kind of draw a line on each side. So I'll do this quickly, just to kind of demonstrate, and then I'll get to the next thing. Okay, so the last thing is lighting. Basically for lighting, all I do is just make a new layer with white that's kind of low opacity, and then I just do the lighting. So that's pretty simple. Low opacity, do it on the side where the light's coming from. Draw the opacity to the right amount. And that's it. So yeah, that's my 2,000 subscriber / tutorial thing. I hope you learned some stuff. And I will see you all next time.